Okay, in the last class we were seeing the test planning. Uh, in this test planning, in the last class we were seeing test planning. We have seen the following 11 points in the test planning, which include preparing a test plan. We need to first create a test plan. We will start from uh, the point where we want to make the delivery, and we will backtrack it. That is the strategy mostly used. Then scope management. In scope management, we will decide what is the scope of your project, what deliverables you need to give, and depending upon that, we will decide the functionalities to be tested, and what what uh, what project we want to develop. It depends upon the scope of that particular project. Next is deciding test approaches, strategies. We are having different testing strategies. Uh, Depending upon the type of project, we can decide upon the testing strategies. Like we are having different type of testing, like automation testing, manual testing, then black box testing, white box testing, and different strategies are available. So we'll decide upon what type of strategy we want to do. Then setting up criteria for testing, as we have seen in the last class itself, uh, we need to decide upon entry and exit criteria and suspension criteria for the testing, because as we have seen earlier, testing is unending process, so we need to stop somewhere. That's why we need to decide upon criteria for ending the test and criteria for starting the test. There is suspension of ticks also due to different scenarios. If you are having more number of bugs in the test or new release is there, you need to suspend the test for some period of time, and when the issues are resolved, we can retest the particular software. Then next thing is we need to identify responsibilities. We need to do staffing and training of the uh, employees. We need to give different responsibilities for an authority for deliverables, and we need to identify if some training is needed for testing the particular software that we need to do. The next point was identifying a resource requirement, hardware, software, platform related resources requirement that we need to identify and acquire that particular resources. Next is identifying test deliverables. We need to identify what deliverables we need to give and at what time line we need to give that particular deliverables that we need to identify. Next point was testing task. We need to estimate the size and effort required to test, as we have already seen. In order to identify the size of a particular software project, we have different strategies, uh, like we can identify in terms of lines of code. Then secondly, we can have functional points. We can calculate the functional point. We can calculate the pages and database relations which are available. And depending upon that, we can find the size. Mm, Mostly for testing, we can identify by using the number of modules and the test cases required to execute that module. That can be the size for the testing task. Then we need to break down those tasks into smaller units and then schedule it so that it can be a manageable one. And then next was the communication management. uh, we need to manage the communication so that all the communications or all the people, uh, all the information should be seen is in a synchronized manner. Everybody should know what its responsibilities and duties are. And last point was risk management, risk quantification, and risk mitigation. And so we need to identify the risk. We need to divide the risk into uh, what is the severity, right? And uh, we need to categorize the risk accordingly. In the last class, we have seen we can uh, calculate the risk in the measurable form by calculating the probability and impact factor of that particular risk. And we will calculate a common factor that is called as the risk exposure, which is the multiplication of probability and impact, which will give you some value which will decide the uh, impact of the risk or the what may be the what will be the consequences of that particular risk. So we have seen a mitigation uh, policy strategies for reducing the risk. It is generally uh, advisable to have multiple mitigation strategies in order to handle those risks. And some of the common risks also we have seen in the last class. That is unclear requirements, schedule dependency, insufficient time for testing, showstopper defects, availability of skilled and non-motivated people for testing, inability to get a test automation tool. These are some common risks which are available. And we have seen risk, symptoms, and impact and mitigation for particular risk, mitigation policies. So today we will move on to the next topic, that is test management. This is all about test planning, and today we will start with test management. So we have plan. When we plan, we need to monitor, what is going on. Right? So it is not like that we have planned it and it will go according to the plan. Sometimes it will may not go according to plan due to some uh, problem or some incidences encountered. Right? So in order to execute a plan properly, we need to manage it. So first thing is to make a proper choice for a standard. So first thing comes into mind, why we require some standard. Right? So if you don't have any standard, then whatever you are developing or whatever you are testing, you cannot assure the quality for that particular software if you don't have any standard. Right? So that's why standard is very important. Right? So standards are of two types. There is external standard and internal standard. Internal standard means we can develop our own standard inside the organization. We will have a structured process and we can define some standards for testing and report generation. Right? Second thing is external standards. External standards are standards that a product should comply with or externally visible and are usually stipulated by external consortium. Right? Some consortiums are there, just like W3C, this consortium or World Wide Web. How you can develop a web application is explained by this W3C. Similarly, different standards are there how you can develop a particular software, so, or test a particular software. So the external standard we are impacted by external organizations, right? For a testing perspective, these standards include standard tests supplied by external consortium and acceptance tests supplied by customers. Compliance to external standard is usually mandated by external parties. You can have third party verification for compliance of that particular standard. Compliance means uh, to check whether the standards had been met or not. It's called as compliance. Right? So, in order to check, you can have external parties to uh, visit and monitor if the external standard has been met or not. Internal standards are standards formulated by a testing organization to bring in consistency and predictability. So for predictability and consistency, it is very required to have a standard. Right? You can have internal standard as well as external standard. This internal standard is adopted by a particular organization in order to have consistency and predictability in the system. They standardize the process and methods of working within the organization. Process means whenever you have a particular job, how you can proceed for carry out to carry out this job is called as process. Uh, in software engineering also we have seen process management and process frameworks, right? So you need to develop a process framework and you need to standardize that particular process. Some of the internal standards include naming and storage conventions for test artifacts. And so you will be having some naming and storage conventions. Right? So which type of fault is there and where to store it, it can be decided depending upon the name. Right? Just like a dictionary, you can see in dictionary if you want to search a particular name, you follow some process because the word is written in the book depending upon that particular process, that it will be sorted in the alphabetical order. So it will be very easy to identify and search a particular word. Similarly, here also the test cases are given some unique ID, and depending upon that unique ID and uh, the content of that unit ID, you can identify which type of, you should be able to identify which type of test is there and which type of system you are testing. Then there is documentation standards. You can prepare different format and that can be followed by the whole of the organization. And there is test coding standard. So while writing the test cases and while testing, you should follow some standard, or while creating some test report, you should follow some standard. And so if you follow some standard, it will be very easy to read and understand what you are suggesting in the report. Then test infrastructure management. So in this infrastructure, what you are having, We are having generally three components. Test case database. Database is there where you will store all the test cases. Mostly Excel files are used to store the test cases and its result. Then second thing is there is a defect repository. Defect repository holds the defects or information about the defects and what is current status of that particular thing. Then next is configuration management repository and tools. Configuration management means whatever change you are making in the software or whatever changes required to run that particular software or whatever configurational changes required to run that particular software will be stored in configuration management repository, or different version of the software may be stored in configuration management repository. So here is an example of how the test case database can be. For example, it may have three uh, attributes like entity, purpose, and different attributes for that particular test. Right? So here are given the test case database capture all the relevant information about the test case in an organization. Some of the entities and the attributes in each of these entities in such test case database are given in the table. Okay, so this is the example. Here you can see you are having test case. Purpose records all the static information about the test. What it includes: test case ID, test case name, test case owner, associated file for the test. So you can have a test case. For this test cases, you can have following attributes to store in the data. Then test case product cross references. It provides a map between the test and the corresponding product. Features enables identification of test for a given feature. So like test case ID, and you will be having module ID. So this can be one table, that is test case product reference, wherein you can have test case ID and module ID, for which module you have developed a test case. Then test case run history gives the history of when a test case was run and what was the result. Provides input on selection of tests for regression runs. Regression runs we have already seen. When there is any change in a product, we need to test. If there is any change in the functionality of one functional unit, you need to test whole of the project. This is called as regression testing. So here we can have test case ID, run date, time taken, run status, pass or fail. Yeah. Then next is test case defect cross reference. And if there are any defects, so particular test case are mapped with the defect ID. Right? So test case ID and defect reference number, which can be mapped with the repository for defects. Next is a defect repository. Defect repository. Defect repository captures all the relevant details of defect reported for a product. Defect repository is an important vehicle of communication. Right? So we can store all the relevant defects in the defect repository. It has following entries and attributes. So defect detail. So defect detail will have defect ID, defect priority, severity, defect Defect ID can be anything. Defect, it will be an unique ID. Defect priority, if you need to write the structure for defect details, you can write here defect priority as severe, low, high, extreme. Yeah. Then defect description. What is the description of the defect? Then affected products or functionalities. Yeah. Any relevant version information, any information available. Yeah. Environmental information like OS, platform, and so on. Customer who encountered the problem and date and time of defect occurred. The next is defect test details. It provides details of test cases for a given defect. It maps test case with the defect. Right? So it is having two attributes, defect ID and test case ID. Then there are fixed details. If any defect is fixed, so what is the fixed detail? Right? So we are having defect ID and fixed detail for that particular defect. Then communication, capture all the details of communication that transmitted from the defect among the various stakeholders. This could include communication between the testing team and the development team, customer communication, and so on. Provides insight into the effectiveness of communication. So it will have attributes like test case ID, defect reference, and details of communication. What the defect is or what the description you have provided. Then next is configuration, software configuration management repository, also known as configuration management repository, keep tracks of change control and version. If different versions of softwares are there, you need to control. So version control of files, entities that make up a software product. Change control ensures that changes to test file are made in controlled fashion and only with proper approval. Changes made by one test engineer are not accidentally lost or overwritten by other teams. Each change product produces a distinct version of the file that is recreatable at any point of time. Right? So you need to recreate sometimes. You may make some changes to your file, but at some point of time you may feel that a particular previous file is correct version, so you can jump on to the that particular version. So it is like backup, creating a backup of a file. At any point of time, everyone gets access to only the most recent version of the text. In most of the companies, it is maintained by using the software. That softwares are called as configuration management software. Right? So wherein you can store and retrieve the latest version of the particular software. So this is a relationship between uh, PCDM, DR, and SCM. What is this PCDM? Case database. As this DR is defect repository and SCM is software change management. And you can see what it contains: test case information, test case product reference, test case information. We have already seen in the table. Then test case defect reference. Here we are having defect details, defect fix details, defect test details, defect communication details. Then SCM has product test cases, then environmental files, product documentation, product source code. It is very important. It is generally asked in the exam. Anybody want to ask anything? So in today's lecture, we have seen choice of standards, then test infrastructure management, in which we are having 3 points: a test case database, a defect repository and configuration management repository, or software configuration management. Yeah. So we will stop here today. In the next class, we will proceed further for the more.